No, I've been hit, I've been spit on, I've been called a bitch, like everything in the fucking book. And they have one caseworker who serves 200 people and only has 5 minutes to meet them when they first come into the shelter, and there's not enough resources for decent follow-up. If you're going to work at a shelter, it's either because you know the line of work, you've been there for a long time, you can handle it, you find it rewarding. This is not something that you do for money. I'm surprised more people don't kill themselves, to be honest. And that's what makes me mad. It's like we set this up, and then we continue to punish them by just saying like, oh, don't give that bum $5 because he's just gonna go shoot up with it. First off, you don't know that. And secondly, if he does, like, what would you be doing in that situation? You know what I mean? They don't want to be doing that. They don't wish that. It's not so simple as, oh, just give him a shower, then he can look nice for a job. No, like, if you've wound up there, you likely have years of work to do to get yourself back up to what other people would consider like a functional working level. But like, you can fake it to make it. Like, you have to, in this line of work, you have to have that face on. Even if you just want to go and break down in the other room, or you don't know what you're doing, you fucking act like you know what you're doing in this situation, because if not, it will just get out of control. You gotta, and like, that's what one of my bosses, was some of the best advice actually, she said, like, you fucking puff up like a pigeon and you deal with the aftermath later. But in that moment, you grab the situation and you deal with it. Then you can lock yourself in a room and make whatever phone call you need to make. There's people I work with who are 18. There's people I work with who are 65, probably older actually, and they've been working in shelters for 40 years. Some people, this is their first job in the fields. So there's just such a wide array of people that work there. Just like a lot of our clients do, the people who work there have just as much of a story a lot of the time. I mean, some of the people who've worked there were previously homeless. Some of them were previous addicts. There's a lot of single moms. Some of them have 3 master's degrees and are working on a PhD, working for $15 an hour when they could be working for a hell of a lot more somewhere else. And some of them never graduated high school, and have been AA for 30 years and everyone, we've all got different motives, I guess, for doing it, but are all working towards the same cause. It's a really refreshing, good group of people. I'd say the one thing is, though, rough around the edges, but teddy bears on the inside. Let's be real. Rock and roll happens at night and on the weekends when checks come out, when this and that happens. And so, I mean, often it's the 3 of us on shift trying to manage over 200 something homeless guys. And I've always been taught that you've got to stop something before it starts. But I've learned at this job that I don't know, you're kind of just constantly stopping and kicking out and moving from one thing to the next. It never stops, and it becomes so normal. You hear these advisories come on about, it's -30, bring your pets inside, risk of freezing, or, watch out, don't be outside for more than 5 minutes, you're going to get frostbitten, you're going to have to go to the hospital. You don't hear a damn word about a homeless person until someone dies and they're found, and you still don't hear much about it. It's just a passing fact in the news. Move on to the weather. The biggest problem, especially in the winter when it's this cold, is the ones who are having, high-risk issues and end up being barred from all of the shelters downtown, even the last resorts, and then they have nowhere to go unless you call the cops and they take them to jail, which a lot of them would prefer because a lot of them say the food's better there, and I mean, they get in, they're warm. It takes a while to learn how to do that, and you've got to be really good with your mind, because you really have to learn how to separate work from your personal life. But the problem is, since a lot of us are in this job not just for a paycheck, it's not just about work. Like for me, it's a mentality. It's about like what I'm trying to do, or what fight I'm trying to fight. And so that doesn't end when I get off at 4:30. And I do things like kickboxing, things like that. That helps me have like some me time and get out whatever anger I have going on. The other day, for example, I was at work, and there was this one guy who he was just like totally intoxicated, and he was falling all over. And so like I went and helped him pick him up. He was this Aboriginal man. And then I remembered him from when we did this Christmas dinner not long before, because he was totally wasted on Listerine, and he had a broken ankle, and he tripped and like wiped out the choir. And so I pick him up, and he's crying and crying and crying. And then I recognized him, and then his boot had fallen off, and his ankle is like all mangled because it was broken, and I don't know where his cast went. It's clearly untreated. He doesn't even have a health card. I mean, he's clearly got other mental health issues, addiction, whatever. And he just kept like, he was just sobbing, just saying like, I don't want this life anymore. Like, I just wish I was dead. And then it's like, I looked at him and I said like, how is this possible? Like, I mean, it's such a cesspool of discarded bodies, and this is what makes me angry, because it's not just like, yeah, some people are there because they've had shit luck. Some people are there because they're passing through the city, and like the majority are people like this guy who have such like a complex mix of issues. I mean, he probably went through the residential school system to start, which like likely fucked him up beyond belief, and whatever other trauma has led him to be here. He's got physical disabilities, he's got mental illness, which he's clearly not having access to a doctor or on meds. I know he's addicted to Listerine and rubbing alcohol. I don't know what other drugs he might be using. And so it's just like, how can we let this happen to our people? I don't know. And I think that the reason that it's shocking to me is because it's not one case. Like, this is case after case after case. And so, like, we're just leaving them out there for what, I think, like, that's what, like, just the forced desensitization of, like, dealing with these is what I didn't expect. And I started to question myself, like, holy shit, am I losing empathy? Like, am I really doing anything, or am I just like making sure that all hell doesn't break loose even further? You realize that this is a job where you're not going to really see the progress that you're trying to make. So what are you going to do about that? Now that I think about that, like, that's hard to navigate, because you're there for the people, you're there to do it, but sometimes you just feel like this careless bitch because you have to get to the next person, so that like there's not enough resources. And I think that's what I didn't expect.
Lost in time, another day goes on by, here and far away. You left behind one life, one soul, child. You were told, just die, let life pass you by. What you gonna do? Where you gonna go? One more mile, one more mile, yeah. Can they see what you hear? Whispers, fear, feed inside your mind, and soon wonder if the man at you been so long looking for answers. Take away sins, it's always been. What you gonna do? Where you gonna go? One more mile, one more mile, yeah. Screams reach from above, below, they know what you're thinking of. Yeah, look at you, can't feel your pain. Lost in time, another day goes on by, here and far away. You're lost in time, and every night